Hello world, I go back to ancient Greece in about 422 BC. So here you can see the ancient Greek Mr. T there looking very nifty in his armour. So I've just managed to track down, funnily enough using Google Maps, I've managed to find the ancient Agora of Athens. Okay, so agoras, you may remember from last week, are places where men met to discuss the politics and to discuss where they would vote for different things to be put in place for the city. So you can see that you will only see men in here. Women were not allowed, neither were foreigners or slaves. And you can just see, I'm just going to show you a little bit of their clothing. But if we look at the building itself, we can see there's some amazing statues and sculptures around. You can also see it's very well decorated, some nice plants. We had a lovely climate back in ancient Greece, and they still have a very warm climate. But you can see there, so you can see they've got almost like dresses on the men there with a belt wrapped around the middle. And quite often men would wear headdresses as well, so you can see there around his head that you've got some of that. I kind of stand out a little bit, but yeah, funnily enough, managed to track it down using Google Maps. So use Google Maps of current Greece and then found it on here, so shows the maps are pretty authentic. So I'm going to borrow my horse like last time and we'll have a little look around the city. So I'm going to move. Oh, my horse. Oh dear. Sorry about that, my horse was having a few problems there, so I'm going to take us up. I'm not going to be doing any killing. Oh, we're by a prison, so let's just have a little nose in. So you can see prisons, not changed too much. If we carry on though, we'll go up to the Acropolis of Athens. Now the Acropolis of Athens was a very famous part, so it was an ancient citadel, okay, which is the core part of the city. And polis, you may recognise from last week, was the name of their cities. Okay, so we're just going to have a look. Oh, and try not to hit too many people. So if I just jump up here, you can see some of the women's clothing here. Okay, so again, similar to some of the men's and nice fabrics. Hopefully most people wore more than that man, but we'll ignore him and we'll proceed towards what we can. Oh, it's a long way up to here. So you can see as we go around, lots of natural lighting, very well decorated, as this would have been a very important part of Athens to the ancient Greeks, and it was almost the centre. So we said Athens is the capital of Greece now, and it's a very important part. So I'm just going to take you to one of the famous landmarks. So here we've got the statue of Athena, which we can see here. People are worshipping their gods, as they believed in many different gods. Okay, and hopefully I can take you to the Parthenon, which is still just about intact. So you can see some of these amazing landmarks are still actually intact today. So here we go, and here we go. I'm gonna, a little bit disrespectful, apologies ancient Greeks, and show you the Parthenon. Now this is one of the most famous buildings. You can see there people are worshipping outside, and if we take a look inside, this is where they would travel to worship Athena. So you can see lots of things brought as a token of their thank you. Oh, for your troubles. Oh, a little sword. Won't tell anyone about that. Hope you don't either. So you can see an amazing structure though here. Oh, that's a big bird. So an amazing structure, and you can still see, and it's interesting because it sits very high up on a piece of rock. So if you visit Athens, you will see most of Athens is down there. Okay, however, this Acropolis is way up on this rock, so you can see it. Why do you think that? It was to protect them. Okay, so almost a natural barrier for people to stop them from getting up and getting to there. So you can see a very important part, and it's still there today. Okay, parts of the Acropolis and the Parthenon you will still be able to see in Greece today. So lasted over 2,000 years. Very different buildings compared to the Anglo-Saxons that we looked at as well, interestingly. Okay, and if we just look around the outside of Greece, okay, so on there, the far wall, you can see there's a wall around the city, which again is used for the protection. Okay, we can see here there's water at the bottom of these rocks as well, which made it very difficult. And if we look at the buildings, actually most buildings are made out of stone. So you can see terracotta roofs, which are still very popular in countries near the Mediterranean, and lots of buildings are similar to Rome, which you would expect, but actually the ancient Greeks came before the Romans, so the Romans took a lot of their ideas from ancient Greece. Okay, so this gives us a very nice idea about what it was like in the Acropolis. I'm now going to show, sorry love, well I'm now going to show you some of, oh dear, I don't want to get into any chatting, what it was like in other parts. You can see some buildings going on here, so using the wood and helping that to build the structures. So just going to do another jump. Common way of travelling around Greece. So you can see again lots of buildings. Okay, so I'll try and get down to them for you. Also, if you do have anything that you'd like to see, this is only Athens. Sparta was a very important part of Greece at this time, and there was often battles between Sparta and Athens. So you can see again lots of difference, and then I'm sure we'll be able to find some parts that aren't as well off. So you can see some soldiers there, more sculptures, lots of springs there. So we talk about the Roman bath, the Greeks also had that, so they were quite, that's why when we looked last week at them being an intellectual civilization, you could argue that they were one of the first. There was a theatre somewhere around here, which I just want to show you if I can find it. Another sculpture. Oh, sorry. Some market stalls, so similar to what we've seen before. Lots of market stalls where you could buy your produce. Some gold statues again. Have I found the theatre? It's probably going to be the last place I look. So, lots of buildings again. See difference in wealth between people. So lots of modern buildings. You can see it not too dissimilar from what we have now. Oh, jump in the bushes. So you can see already some of the architecture, there's a difference in terms of quality in some, so that would reflect poorer areas having buildings that aren't quite as well structured as the others. So, oh. And then here we've got two nice sculptures there. I'm not very good, I'm running into a lot of people. So you can see there the gates around the city to protect them, and if we look around here, a little bit of a poorer area. So if we look at some of these buildings, not quite as nice as the ones that we've seen at the top in the Acropolis, so a poorer area of Athens now, okay, which would have been popular in most cities. So this might have been where some of the slaves lived. Slaves may not have had places to live, in all honesty, because they didn't have many rights in ancient Greece. So we can see, yeah, a big difference in terms of the buildings that they had compared to the wealthy, which seems to be a common theme throughout the history. So again, now entering a more wealthy area, we can see the buildings and some of the sculpture work, which is incredible. And typically I still can't find this theatre that I did see earlier. It's been a while since I played this game, so it's taken me a while to find certain things, hence the use of Google Maps to find my way to the Agora. But in terms of daily life anyway, again, jobs, we may have had soldiers. Here we go, I think we're finally there. Yes, I found it. So typically the last place I look, furthest bit round. So the theatre we can see that have had an influence on today. So lots of people would have met here to come and watch the theatre and the productions that people put on, because we said that was one of the influences that they've had on society today. So you can see people there watching. Okay, and as I was just mentioning, different roles. So obviously the men went out to think, and there were lots of scientists and mathematicians and philosophers, so people who started thinking about how the world works. So the men had those roles and a right to education, whereas women, without the freedom that they have now, they would have been expected to do a lot of the work at home. So I'm sure you will have found lots of information about this. So we can see the sculpture, again, incredible. So whereas the Anglo-Saxons were fantastic with wood, if we look at the Greeks, their sculpture out of stone was incredible. So I hope that's given you a little... I hope that's given you a little bit of an insight into ancient Greece. And if you do want to learn any more about ancient Greece or see anywhere on this, I have got a map that I can show you. So when we think about ancient Greece, okay, we know it was in the Mediterranean, in the Aegean Sea, and you can see so many little islands, okay, make up parts of ancient Greece. Some of you may have visited some of these on holiday, okay, and you can see mainland Greece there where it's attached to Europe, okay. So Sparta was down here, okay, Sparta was there, and they obviously had big problems with Athens, which was up here, okay, and some of the other policies you may see around there. So if you do want to see anything else, then give me an email and I'll try and record it for you. If not, I hope you've enjoyed ancient Greece, and that gives you a little bit of an insight into what it was like. Take care, and I'll see you soon. Bye bye.